We had 5 minutes before the radio show. Wow. Good morning, everybody. Got a little coffee. Got 4 minutes until the show. They removed the clock in here that wasn't really working. See, it's interesting that the phone video of this flips it, and that the computer shows it like we can read stuff. Like you can see, this is, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. It's supposed to be Motorhead. Let me. Wow. Johnny Angel. They got it going here. Moving on, ja people, yeah. Bayou Ramblers. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, man. Man, oh man, that's good. That baby ain't gonna work, is it? Alright, man, I guess it's time. It is 10 o'clock, alright. Oh, yeah. Feel bad about doing that one. But it is top of the hour. And so I'm gonna leave that on for just a little bit because I'm liking those last Bayou Ramblers. I feel guilty coming on with the show with them playing. Anyway, welcome. You are listening to WHIV 102.3 FM, we honor independent voices. And this is Monkey Mind with Rob. And this refers to a Buddhist terminology for our thinker, which I'm going to say is the root of all of our issues, a lot of our joys. But too much identification with that monkey, and you're going to run into some troubles. The other aspect of this show is health, specifically cancer, and even more specifically, brain cancer, and even more specifically, GBM, which is a 4 in hurricane terms. Back in, 2005, I got diagnosed with what was considered a fatal, because I'm going to die. I don't know, that's going to shock you guys, but I will not live forever. But anyway, they rush up your expiration date when you get a brain cancer. So that was in like 05. So you're supposed to live like, back then it was 6 months was the what do they call that? The median or the median, something like that. The average life expectancy with treatment was 6 months. Now I think it's more like a year and change. But, people are doing some pretty cool stuff out there. But yeah, what I notice so much with me, it's about, your quality of life, not as much so your quantity. You can live a lot of years and be kind of miserable, and that's not really the point of it. It's enjoying yourself. All right, I guess we let that fade off, and I think you can maybe hear in the background a little guitar playing, maybe. I'll turn it up just a hair. No, that's not gonna behave because I'm doing it differently. So the guitar in the background, if you can hear it, that is Red Priest playing an instrumental of Monkey Mind, a song that I wrote, I guess like a year ago. And I wrote these other songs, and I'm just sitting on. My creative output has been very slack. But that's okay, man. I'm living in my now, in my moment. It's so good for you just to keep reminding yourself that how you live your life is all about right now, and it's in this moment. So much of us aren't really taught that or shared that. Unfortunately, I probably turned my kids off of that because when I came off of rehabbing, I guess, after my brain cancer, I got turned on to Eckhart Tolle, and it really got me into seeing that was, I guess, a lot of the fallacy of how I was living. And I even noticed I was very depressed prior to getting diagnosed with the brain cancer. I was had lots of anxiety, depression. I was a sad puppy. I was not a happy camper. And I thought, I thought I even gave myself brain cancer from just being so stressed. Yeah, tough. And so much about getting better and finding some more peace with just being is just noticing things and listening to stuff and trying to lessen your judgment. And I'm very, I don't know, I was going to say narcissistic, but maybe that's not. But I definitely suffer from a lot of that ego identification too. So I'm in the same boat. What I think the major thing for a lot of people is they don't even realize the little duality that they have. They're just think they're that monkey mind, that thinker, that chatter that's constantly going. I mean, our thinkers it's a psychosis. It just never shuts up. And some of the reality to it is it doesn't, or at least mine doesn't. It's kind of like you say, well, okay, that's not really me, which is I find a really weird practice where it's been so much of that ego that you identify with is not so much really you. It's they got these cool quotes that are, what was it? It was, okay. You're the sky. As I'm gonna butcher this thing, I don't even remember. Oh, it's somewhere here in my notes, but I have to find it. And that everything else is like the clouds. And then there's the other one that's like life is the dancer, you are the dance. That's kind of a fun one too. It's just kind of like almost that you're not really a shell, but you're a being, and you're almost like kind of selected things to identify with as yourself. And it's very arbitrary and based on things that your monkey does because it wants to be empowered, your thinker. The basic parasite, and I like to make the analogy nowadays, it's like the cancer is very much a parasite like the ego is in our psyche. And the the thinker loves identifying with groups, any kind of group. It embolds our thinker, our ego, and you can see it really gets into a lot of unhealthy stuff. Now, I may just be saying that because I'm not really a member of any groups right now, so I mean I am, but they're like, what is it, like self-proclaimed, well, I'm a that or I'm a this. So yeah, we all get kind of guilty of that thing. I mean, the beauty of it is, though, is that you have so many nows to try again. Like, let's say you just messed up. You just got really angry at somebody, and which is messing up, getting angry. Well, you can't really help getting the initial anger. I guess it's the secondary thing that you can really control, like your response to anger, because you can't help a lot of times just getting angry. That's just going to be an involuntary, like, knee jerk to your stimuli. But it's also seeing that, seeing yourself and others. I mean, there's so much of a constant thing of projection. People, you can really tend to see what somebody's issues are by the things that really bother them. Because I think you'll find out that the things that really bother you are very kind of internal. They're like this is all kind of a mind game to get your stuff together. To you know what I'm saying? Everything's like a teaching process to show us our own shortcomings per se. And most of what we think of our shortcomings are just beautiful aspects of ourselves. It's just how it's been conditioned by others or manipulated by others for them to gain more ego fulfillment. And it's just a big ego fulfillment game that's going unchecked and unnoticed by a great group of people, and it keeps piling on and piling on, forming more groups, separating from others. Over-identification with everything from race to religion to your political party. I mean, these are all just very, in the grand scheme of things, pretty trivial things. They're just like labeling, judging, empowering egos. And yeah, make a bobo. It makes a bobo even bigger. Well, I keep looking at where that clock used to be. I am really not into time, but maybe when I do this show, I kind of am. But yeah, it's so strange. I mean, and a lot of the stuff we're hearing, it's like, I don't know, with this COVID, it just, I don't know, a lot of the numbers don't really seem like they add up, and this has gotten to be so like another political thing. They'll just, people will just use anything to support their ego satisfaction. It just doesn't matter. But yeah, like I heard some time back, they were saying like, this is a variation of the flu. The COVID is a flu. The flu is a COVID, just as this is what, COVID-19 or whatever. And I'd heard sometime back from some docs that basically, like the flu, everybody's going to pretty much, given a few years, is going to get this. This isn't going to like go away. And look how we do with vaccines now. I mean, it's very much a educated guess. They take strands from like the year before and then do their best to take a crack at it. And it doesn't always work, and sometimes it does. So what I saw so much with me surviving brain cancer was that people were like, "Oh, you were saved for a reason." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that." but then I started thinking like, okay, what could my reason possibly be? You know? And it'd have to go down to something like I was thinking, what the heck was I thinking? There would be something really simple. Like it would be, I was saved, LOL, to notice my moment. Right? I mean, I think that's pretty much it. There ain't too much more important than that in life. Noticing your moment. And yeah, I don't know. Because then I was kind of, I could, I don't know, make a cure for something. I could make an important contribution to the art world. I was like, whatever. This was like a few years back. I remember. I guess this is before. Was this before? I don't even know when this was on the grand scheme of my brain cancer diagnosis. But I remember going to this one party, and at that point, I was really big on, what do they call that from the Big Lebowski? Nihilism. I think I'm a nihilist. But I wasn't really like, I didn't believe in nothing. But I was like, I was very much into a methodology, thinking like, this is all kind of pointless. And so sometimes when I would go out and get drunk, I would like, this is just, I mean, what is the purpose of anything, And I met this guy, and I was convinced he was the devil, in a fun way. And he really started to get irked at me. And it could have gone to a little fighting with the devil. But I just thought it was kind of funny because he was very dapper and very dressed really sharp. It was kind of like a costume party, but he did it pretty up nice. And he had two beautiful young women with him too. And he was a young guy too, or my age at least at the time. Now I'm a little more senior here, a little getting long in the tooth. But but he got pretty upset, I remember. But in like kind of a casual way. And then I was watching the guy, I was like, oh man, this guy looks a little more of a badass than he looked a little tougher once he got mad at me. I was like, all right, I don't really want to throw down here. But I was still kind of talking my smack, but I did kind of, the devil's a bad dude. Though I don't really believe in the devil, but I'm not really into the Christianity kind of thing. Though I kind of like the whole aspect of it. I think there's so many things you can take from different cultures, different religions, and everything, and I'm trying to find out, sort what works for you and what doesn't. I think there's so much to the chicken soup kind of thing about being good to others, being good to yourself. I mean, I think it definitely starts with self-care. That you really need to practice being good to yourself and loving yourself and not judging yourself so much. And then you can transfer that then to others. Another good practice, driving around. That's like you can take baby steps. Like some of these things are, they're pretty hardcore just to jump into and just expect that you're going to maintain it. And it's a part of the practice on a daily basis of forgiving yourself in your moment. And that's really where I think peace is, heaven would be. It's going to be right here, right now. I mean, that's so much of an industry of our anxiety and depression is not really honoring and being grateful for our moment and noticing our moment and realizing that your moment is it. I mean, there is no future and there is no past. There is just right now. And don't be worried about, oh, I only have so many more years for this or that. You got limitless now. And that's where it's at. That's where it's always been. You never did anything in the future. And your past is not with you unless you want to bring it up. Unless you want to. And it takes practice not bringing it up. And that's part of the thing, or just going easy on yourself. And you cannot mess this up. This is your story. You can't mess it up. This is perfectly you, what you're doing. That's perfectly you. All you're lacking is a little bit of practicing your gratitude all the time. Act like everything you pretty much designed, because it kind of in a way you did. And it's just a learning thing for you. And some lessons don't feel as good as others do. But they're all, perfect. And like I said, you can't make... So the pressure's off. It's all off, man. You got it made. It's all good. Yeah. Just practice. And you got another now. Oh, I just totally messed up the radio show. Well, I'm gonna do better right now. Last week I listened to my show and it was all I was like, man, because I don't do, I'm just talking here, so I don't really have any kind of, what is that called? I forget the term. It was it's kind of a fun, it's not spontaneous, but it's there's a term for it where you just talk. I think there's a term for it. Some other guy that does a radio show in here, was on his, I saw on his write-up. Though I don't think they still save my shows at this radio station. They don't. I'm kind of one of the newer, whatever you call this, shock jocks? No. DJs? I don't have a cool DJ name. I guess it's just Monkey. Monkey. Yeah, but I really latched on the whole monkey thing. That was a beautiful find. But like I said, I think I turned, because all I got on this was audio tape. So I came off of having all this brain cancer, and I was really just kind of jacked up. I mean, I couldn't like talk like this before. I would really lose my train of thought. And now it's just kind of, it's trying to think here. It's a little sporadic, but I mean, it's nothing that everybody else isn't dealing with. It's just a little bit more like I don't have control of it in a way. But it's okay. So much of what is like, we cause things to be the irritant. They're really not. Like there's nothing wrong with getting lost. It's just that if you're stressed out over being lost, that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? And everything else kind of falls in line like that. Like, there are no problems. It's just things that are, you know? You want to make it a problem, yeah, you totally can. You can do that till you're blue in the face, and you could be fighting till there's always going to be some kind of injustice. That's like, going back, it's like, well, I just need to deal with my past. Then I'll be better now. That's like, you can never deal with your past. You can't. It's an endless sea. Basically, it is just making peace and just saying, okay, that was. And that was then. I had things I didn't like. Hopefully I retained those. And some of that stuff you can almost just like take with you just in a subconscious level. Like, there's so much stuff we're crunching that we're not really aware of. Like, for the future stuff. Like, oh, I need to prepare for this. I need to prepare. And there is stuff you you should prepare for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can kind of hop out of your moment to do stuff like lists or something like that, and then you can just jump back into it. Kind of like even if you have certain eating styles, and then every once in a while, wow, that dish looks great. You know, what the heck? Go for it. Try it out. Enjoy yourself. So much of that is, like, one of the things I always really loved was the idea that we should be at a constant state of joy, ease, and lightness. If we're not, that's a sign that that's your monkey mind, that's your ego. You're identifying with your ego. So, yeah, it's a good like little check you can do. And then you just hop back in your moment. And then you forgive yourself, don't judge yourself. I always thought like I was trying to define shows back about love, and I basically kind of came up with that it's okay, it has no opposite to. I really like that part. Like if your love is like we've all had that where I hate you. I was like, no man, that ain't love. Love is just love. Love isn't hate. And hate that's just a no-no. That's a big no-no. Even just I don't like people saying the word. I like it. I noticed too that it's the three things also about your changing stuff. It's like if there's something around you that you don't like, you change it. If you can't change it, then you get away from it. If you can't get away from it, then you surrender to it, make peace with it. And then you can start over. But it's like kind of starting over in more peace mode. Not that you shouldn't have been at peace mode in the first place, but I'm just saying. Sometimes the stimuli gets us, we get that initial jolt where we get very angry or, I don't want to be stuck in a ditch on the side of the road. And so then okay, I need to change this. So you're going to try and get your truck out of the ditch if you got a truck. You can't get your truck out of the ditch. What was the second one? I already forgot. See, so I drop out things a lot too. My memory is a little punchy, but it's all about forgiving. Like when I first went through this cancer stuff, I was not as like forgiving, so I really had to like. And I noticed that as soon as I started letting go and like, it's like, oh man, I'm forgetting stuff again. I'm never gonna get better with this. I'm never gonna be like, talking normal or remembering stuff. And it was just like, starting to just rip myself again. And it's so much about just taking it and just noticing that you're doing that. Noticing that voice is being negative. And noticing that also that's not you. You are more under the surface of that, let's say, a fundamental just being, a consciousness, an awareness. That's how you can sit back and listen to your thoughts. And a lot of us don't do that, and that's cool. That's cool. I'm just saying it's out there. It's out there. And that's how people do such horrible things to each other, is because they're ego identification. It's all about that. And it's doing it again and then again and again and getting so lost in I'm this or I'm that. And you're not this. And that makes you right and them wrong, and that empowers your ego. Victimization is very, very ego-driven. Being the victim. Like, I'm being, you're doing this to me, and because of this, and that's just not right. And yeah, it's just more, you're wrong for doing this, so I'm right. So it builds up that ego. And it's such a beautiful thing to have. And I'm very guilty of this, but it's such a beautiful thing to have conversations with someone else where you're not trying to be right. You know what I'm saying? Like we get so I just so want to be right. Like I was having a conversation with my youngest daughter. What were we talking about? Oh, we're talking about diet. Because one of the things I'm into, and she, I guess I like saying Zac Efron's name. But anyway, she was saying she just watched that new documentary that he did on Netflix about, I think it's about culinary things around the globe. I haven't seen it yet, but part of it was about that. But he may have other episodes. It's about other stuff. Who knows? But like I said, I haven't seen it. And then so we were talking about diet, and so she was saying how old people eating like pasta was, and so like she based it on this really ancient culture. And as I was kind of taught and have kind of jammed on, is that I got to look at, one guy made an analogy of a football field, and that we ate a certain, humans evolving ate a certain style for like millions of years evolving, and then over the last, I guess, 6,000 years, 4,000 years, something like that. I'm not really sure on that. But anyway, we made settlements. Like, we were a migratory people. We were just cruising around. I think I heard recently too that they were saying a lot more of us were scavengers than we thought. So like when a predator would make a kill, our little tribe would come in, our family tribe or whatever would come in behind it and break up the bones, I guess scare the predators off, and then just start eating off that. And then we would make our own kills too, of course. But they were saying a lot of that is how good like bone marrow is from you, like bone broth and all that kind of stuff, like a lot of the nutrients that are really key. So where was I going with that? Oh, the analogy was that how you can kind of picture this evolving is that on a football field, the last inch is humans making settlements. And that is a dramatic thing, a change of our eating style, our evolving, because we spent millions of years basically eating meat. And that was just the way it was. It was bigger on the caloric intake, calories, and it was, more sustaining. Whereas you're not going to be eating. You couldn't like be migratory and have like a wheat farm or something like that. So like all this stuff is not based on our evolutionary eating, and sugar and carbs are just really not good for you. They're toxic and addictive. They're a drug and pretty hard to get off of. Cancer really likes sugar. It likes to feed off. Cancer likes lots of energy, just like the ego likes lots of input. It likes either negative, or it pretty much caters to negative, because negative is always a good go-to. And that's where so many of these groups, I mean, look at what humans are capable of doing in groups, where they lose so much of their, I mean, not that people don't do horrible stuff in their individual aspect too, but it's all ego identification. It really is. I mean, it just boils, I'm a broken record on that. And it's so much, anytime you get unhappy, it's just, it's that bloody, ego again. It's you're either comparing yourself to somebody else and you're getting all jelly, and you're like, man, I wish I had abs like that, or pecs. Man, that guy looks cool. Yeah, you're cool. You're cool too, man. You're just you. Give yourself a big embrace. You know what I'm saying? Just practice that. Yeah, I think and also so much is just all these groups and stuff, like separating from people, the power grabs just to secure the ego mind. I mean, all this stuff, breeding. I mean, we're basically like, animals. We're set here to breed. That's why we exist. So it's all about getting it on and making babies. And then in that ego identification, we drift off. Some of us are into same-sex stuff or not into it at all, and almost in an oppressed way, it's the same thing on both or just variations. You're still queuing up, those endorphins that make you feel good, getting off and stuff like that. It's breeding, and you're just a little animal, and yeah, that's on that. And so much with breath is such a good momentary thing to keep practicing. Because like the monkey mind on the Buddhist thing that I was talking about, like it was like a YouTube video, and I'm watching way too many YouTube videos. But TV kind of blows. But I'm really getting into anime now. I'm watching Food Wars now, and I like it a lot. Before that, it was like, what is it, Cowboy Bebop. Anyway, I'm an artist too, so I like drawing, though I'm very, very unproductive lately. And but that's okay. That's okay. I only do my art in the now anyway. Yeah, that's all I do. What was I talking about? Yeah. And it's like, well, I just lost that topic. Anyway, that's why I need like a little billboard where y'all could tell me on this thing, like, hey, that was what you were talking about. I used to do that really, really bad. And it was really cute because I have 2 daughters. And I remember my youngest, I think, when I'd be telling her a story or telling her something, and then I'd forget what I was saying. And then she got in the habit of saying, in her cute little voice, "The end." And yeah, I was like, yeah, that one's gone. I used to have like all these, I remember catchphrases I used to repeat a lot, but I've forgotten a lot what those were. Because then I was having seizures too. So I'd be doing something and then I'd just black out. But I had this weird like precursor to it where I had this involuntary need to like look over my shoulder. And it was so creepy because it's like you could be by yourself. Like I had a retail shop at some of this time, so I was really trying to maintain that, and I was pretty jacked up, and I was working alone, and that cash register, ooh, that was my nemesis, man, working that thing. I'm really not very efficient at math, and I'm not a fan of it either. I'm one of those anti-mathers, but that's just my ego talking. Because I like it when the equations work. That's cool. So anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about seizures, I guess, huh? But why was I talking about that? I don't know. But anyway, those are pretty rough. But I mean, they weren't. I mean, because you'd black out. You just get on the floor and just start, like you're doing the Animal House dance, I guess. I don't remember this stuff, but this is what I'm told. That was called a grand mal. And those you have to watch too, because you can just, I assume, just really mess yourself up on. You can pull stuff. Yeah. What was that great dance in Animal House where they get on the floor and just start gyrate? That was pretty cool. So that's what I'd do. And, but yeah, there's so much of stuff that's just out of your hands. You gotta act like you intended it to and make peace with it. That's all a beautiful journey. I think some things that we just need a little bit of more nows away from it to look back and say, that was okay. And then looking back, let it go. It's gone. Make your new thing. Or take what you can with you. If it's positive, it makes you feel good, makes others feel good, that's cool. But if it ain't, just drop it. You don't need it. You don't need that. You never did. So we got, it seemed like there was something else I was looking around to do. Hopefully I won't have a seizure here. Oh yeah, I could talk about, so anyway, we could talk about more doctor stuff. It's always interesting, the world of medicine. I gotta say, they are practicing medicine. And man, I'm always like, I got 2 doctors that work on my brain. The Frankenstein, doctors, and then of course the monster. So I'm the monster, and I used to be like my favorite word as a kid. I loved monster and werewolf, and I remember I was so into that. I need to write a song about that. My monsters. But where was I with that? Oh yeah, so so in 2005 I got diagnosed with that GBM. They did a bunch of chemos on me, brain surgeries. They removed a good chunk of my right frontal lobe and then stapled me back up just like the monster in Frankenstein, which I was really surprised at. If you get like those big, I guess, brain surgeries, they actually use staples. Kind of funky, like big metal staples. So you wake up. I was not prepared for that. And it was also funny too, is I used to have now I shave my head because the radiation that I got killed a lot of the hair follicles. I used to have like really long hair. So in my first brain surgery, I go in there and I just gotten so greasy from a lack of bathing, and they didn't shave my head for the surgery. They just did like a strip where they were cutting it. So I woke up, I looked like this really, I don't know, alternative Japanese kind of thing. Don't they have that weird kind of haircut where you got the long and then it's like, then you're kind of bald. It was just weird. I had like this little long tuft on the front of my head, and then there was like this stripe right across it, like from ear to ear, and then on the back I had all this long hair again. So it was some kind of like mullet on acid or something. It was crazy looking. And greasy, I mean, it was greasy as all. I was like, man, y'all didn't even bother to shave my head. But it was a lot of hair, I guess. But they could have told me that. I would have shaved it. And then my kids and my wife at the time were all like, yeah, your hair looks great. And at that point, I'd gone through radiation treatment. And I didn't lose like my hair via my chemos that I did. I lost it via radiation because they zap your tumor. So it's got to go through, the top of your head to get at the cancer. So they did a radiation treatment on me, and that just gave you all these like weird bald spots because it kills the hair follicle, zapping going through the brain. And it probably fries a lot of other stuff too. I can't imagine. It's like putting your head in like a focused, I don't know, microwave or something and zapping it. Doesn't seem too healthy, right? But that's like one of the main typical protocols with it. And I think they're getting more accurate with it. But I don't know. A lot of this stuff seems really unhealthy. Like chemo is like seems so toxic, It's like poison. So it's like kind of trying to kill you or, kill the cancer. It's like, who's going to die first? You or the cancer? And that's like another thing is getting you so weak because cancer wants energy. It wants to feed. It needs a lot of fuel to keep it going because it keeps turning over its cells. I might be saying this wrong, but I just had this really cool doctor or doctor's assistant really give me some time yesterday on the phone. It was so appreciated. Thank you. His name was Steve, I think. He was a cool guy. Really nice. Very informative. I was asking a lot of questions. Because since all that, so I did, radiation, brain surgeries, chemos on that first, let's call it cancer. And that was the GBM, which is the worst cancer brain cancer that you can get. It's the highest intensity. It's the most fluffing over of cells. So it tends to be just growing like a brush fire. And just really intense, killing tissue, killing brain cells, taking it over. The parasite. Think of it as your monkey mind gone rampant. And man, the monkey mind, I mean, if you've ever had your monkey mind turn on you, it is brutal because you can't get away from it. And if you don't even really know about it and you think that's you, it's the worst, scariest thing I could imagine because you are completely stuck. I mean, you can't go to sleep with it. It's there. You can't meditate out of it. It's screaming at you the whole time. And it's brutal. Brutal. And so much of it is just being aware of that. I'm not the best at articulating this, and it took me a really, really long time to catch some of this stuff via listening to CDs of Eckhart Tolle. I had a friend that gave me some, and then I got some more. I never read any of his books or anything like that. I just listened to the audio stuff. And when I first heard it right out, it was like a part of a care package someone had given me right after my first brain surgery. And I remember listening to it, and I was like, oh, that guy sounds... I did not like it at all. I didn't like his accent at all. And I was like, I don't want to listen to that. I'd rather listen to some what's it called? Raga? I don't know, it's like Indian, like pretty Indian music. And for healing. Healing ragas, I think it's called that. But it was kind of groovy. But then, months later, somebody else then like it was weird how certain things, they just seemed like they keep being pushed at you, and all the time, so much of I love this thing about so much of the thing we're looking around for that answer, and almost all the times we got it. It's right there, like that tool that you can't find. It's like staring at you. You know, the other thing, it's like there the whole time, like that little epiphany that you needed, that little insight that you needed was there the entire time. You were just kind of closing it off. And I think it's cool, like asking for stuff, like shooting it out there into the universe. What is that called? Maybe that's called The Secret. I think my mom gave my ex-wife and I a disc of that. The Secret to listen to. Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think there's something to a lot of stuff. I think the connections with us, and you know, we are a part of this universe as much as anything else. And then it relates to the whole God thing. And I like this, like we are all sons and daughters of God. We are God. And you can get like real, you know, butt sore on that, or you can just look at it as that you're a part of, if you're the alpha, the omega, you're everything. So you're nothing, you're everything, you know, so, right? I think that's how it works. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I've been kind of struggling a little bit, I'd say, lately. Just gets kind of isolated. I just don't have really any people. I don't have a lot of people that seek out my company. I do have a few, and I'm very appreciative for them. A couple. But I do enjoy the company of women. And that can be just friends. There's a certain, I mean, not all the time, but I don't know, it's a certain dynamic that's kind of, yeah, anyway. So been kind of lonely with the hacienda, but that's okay. And it's so much about practicing making peace with that, because there are a lot of things that just get kind of out of your hands, and that's okay. Kind of making peace with the slow times. Slow times. And then it's also, you know, I'm kind of ego-y too, so like I don't want to hang out with that person. Yeah, so it's a mutual, it's a mixed bag. Karma, baby, karma. So that's gonna be my new is that my new or I'm still doing probably every 5 seconds that y'all are hearing it going, all right, well, this guy stopped saying and I couldn't hear. Like the first thing I was like, whoa, I gotta work on that. And then I tried doing that last episode, like focusing on that, and I couldn't. I was failing completely. I was just laughing at myself. So I figured, forget it. And I had another little practice that's kind of fun, though I haven't been doing it as much lately. It's like you're supposed to say, I love it. Like with everything. Just, I love it. Or then you go to, F it. F it, and I love it. And just put that on a loop. And yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. I just had a MRI. So, like I said, what was that? 14 years ago, I got diagnosed with a GBM. They said I had about 6 months to live. Somehow, I was saved for a reason. This radio show was it. And me talking to you right now was why I was saved. Maybe. Who knows? If it's helping. If hearing some crazy person on the other line says, yeah, man, I'm not as crazy. Listen to this bugger. But, yeah, so then a year ago, let's say, I'd switched some insurance policies and stuff like that, and they flagged a suspect area over my brain stem. So that first cancer I was telling you about is in the front of your brain. Your lobe is up at your like forehead kind of thing. So right frontal lobe, you got the two brains things divided, one hemisphere and the other. So it was primarily on my right frontal, though it dipped a little bit over into the left lobe, but only a little bit. But then that was a GBM. So then I did the chemos. It was really hardcore, really gross. but blessed. I'm grateful. And yeah, so I got, you know, some more moments, some more nows out of it. That's cool. That's cool. And yeah, where was I going with that? Okay, so that was the first one. And then they find the suspect here, which is over the brainstem. And I'm not technically 100% what the brainstem is. I think it's like above your like spine in your brain, sort of. Like it's like your, maybe, I think the cerebellum was what, like below that? I don't know. I like as you can tell, I like the ignorance is bliss a lot of times. So I really try and jam on that. And anyway, so they found a suspect area, and now I think they're telling me that I might have to be on like, because I take chemo now. I've been taking chemo now for like a whole year. You know, I take it at home. It's blessed. Say that for my Reiki. I haven't talked to my Reiki in so long. But yeah, she's always telling me to like not fight stuff like that. I was even telling that to somebody, that nice doctor I was telling y'all about on the phone the other day. But man, I'm not going to get to that story. I just started talking and yeah, I forgot what I was saying there. But that's okay. Not for you, maybe. You're going like, what was your point? I was listening. Sorry, man. I'm in my moment. That's all in the past, whatever that was. But anyway, so I'm on chemo now. I don't want to be on chemo. Let me say that out to the universe. And in the universe, I say that in the most grateful way. Thank you for this blessed chemo. Though I do not want to keep on this stuff. The guy was almost telling me yesterday that he wants me on this forever. Like my forever. Or my body's forever. Not my awareness. My spirit, my soul. That will fluff off all this silly chemo and ego stuff. That's all like trivial stuff. Awareness, man. Has anyone out there, y'all done that DMT? That sounds kind of fun, man. Just like this alternate reality, because it seems like everybody gets the same trip. That sounds pretty, I like that. And I like the narrative of it. Like there's certain characters that everybody meets. It just sounds too kind of sci-fi fun. But anyway, guys and girls, I hope y'all are doing really good and making some peace. Try not to limit your news watching. I'm trying to do that too. And it's so much, just watch what your ego is feeding on. And try and find some loving ways to distract it. And then you ask it, is it breathing? If you want to make it quiet, ask it if you're breathing. And that gives your something, something to think on. And that's how you meditate. You'll meditate now. You're not going to be meditating for 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. You'll be meditating now. You'll be quieting your thoughts, listening to your breath now. And if you keep doing it, you'll keep meditating now. Otherwise, you'll just, yank out of it. But, yeah. So why don't we try and do... Oops. I got my password here, which I'm not going to tell you. That password's stupid. I got so many passwords that I forget. It's crazy. See if this is even working. Alright, a little momentary silence. Now, anytime that I'm quiet, that's when your moment is supposed to breathe when you're out there. So if you can hear this, this is monkey mind. Imagine that. Imagine that. Hey, monkey. I want you to love me. Monkey. I want to love you when I feel you, my monkey. So mean and cruel, but you're mine, all mine. My little monkey. Yeah. Oh yeah, little boy had a life-size toy. It was a monkey. When I squeeze it, made a cute sound. Hey monkey, I want you to love me. monkey. I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. So mean and cruel, but you're mine, all mine, my little monkey. Oh yeah. Wearing a suit and fedora, sits in a bar. Joke to the bartender. To a chimpanzee. Joke is about two penguins. It's also about oral. It's really, really cute. Penguin oral. Monkey, I wanna love you when I feel you, you my monkey. So mean and cruel, but you're mine, all mine, my little monkey. I think Red was just doing the Macarena to it. Oh, monkey. Are you listening to your monkey? I'm not talking to you anymore, Red.
I'm not supposed to be in there.
With me all the time. Hey, monkey. It's just the red monkey came in here. Ooh, hey, we ain't one. Hey, monkey. Hey, little monkeys out there. Hey, just notice your monkey and try and just, notice it. And don't judge your monkey, because you'll just make another monkey. And then you'll get a bunch of monkeys in there throwing poo-poo, calling the other one out, saying, no, you're this. No, you're this. Monkey chatter, man. Just smile at those monkeys like they're just a little baby that can't help it. Because they can't. And a lot of the people that you're dealing with that are driving you nuts, they can't help it either. They're so aligned with their ego, they're lost. So don't feel too bad. And I would like to say that 102.3 FM WHIV-LP has been broadcasting for the past 5 years. We are able to honor independent community voices with your support. Hoodies, fannies packs, and more make for great gifts. Simply go to WHIVFM.org and click store. That's WHIV.org. Thanks, y'all. We are not a radio station with a mission. We are a mission with a radio station. We will end all wars with if we get enough Antifa together. We will end all wars. No, we don't do it. No, we don't want to do that. Be nice. Kill them with kindness, y'all. Kill them with kindness. Lots of kisses, love. I'm going to slowly back down and say up next is the incredible Red Priest, and listen to us live. Yeah, you're right.
Me. Listen to me.
Looking at the Black Lives Matter message, it's pretty clear.
Oh, black lives. Oh, black
They
lives, they do
Yet there
matter.
are still those who insist there's no
I'm just a
reason
guy
to
who likes to chatter.
We've got a problem.
I'm not sure what pile of rocks those folks live under, but
All right, y'all. Later, Gators.
in reality.